I'm going to ask you this, very important, I mean, because of the complaints we've seen and the protests we've seen as well. Don't you think it would be proper to amend the Constitution, so to speak, so that, the State Independent Electoral Commission does not have to organize or conduct local government elections? So if you could amend the Constitution in such a way as to have a truly independent State Electoral Commission, or probably get INEC now, that INEC would appear to be more independent than, a State Independent Electoral Commission when it comes to the conduct of local government.
You want to face the truth? There's no difference between INEC and the State Electoral Commission. The INEC man is not truly independent. He still goes to the federal government for his funds. The one at the state is not really independent. He still goes to the governor for the funds.
Now, the reason I said this is, there's also the belief that INEC, whether or not you like it, is a bit distant from the local government level, so it might have some kind of independent view. And then you look at the trend we've seen, when it comes to local government elections in this country. Any state organizing a local government election, if that state is controlled by a particular party, say the PDP wins everything. We saw that in Niger State a couple of weeks back, where the PDP, of course, that state is controlled by the PDP. The PDP won the entire local government areas there in the local government elections, and we've seen that in other states as well. It might not be too surprising if you see that kind of trend here in Lagos as well.
No, I won't be surprised at all. In all the states
something is wrong
in this country, no, something is definitely wrong. That's why I said the Constitution made the local governments an appendage of the states.
So it's not a question of the State Independent Electoral Commission.
No, that's not where the problem is. No, that's not where the problem is. The problem is this: the local governments exist at the pleasure of the governor. If you elected the chairman of a local government today, and the governor says he doesn't like what you are doing, he will sack you. Whereas the president cannot sack a governor.
What can be done to rectify this now?
Amendment of the
How do you get a genuine and truly independent State Electoral Commission so that we have a situation where people will begin to have faith in local government elections?
Well, we'll have faith in elections when that constitution is amended, but it's a tall order. The reason is simple. The federal government allocation going to the states does not really get to the states. To the local government, rather. It stops at the states. The state collects its own allocation. The state will also seize the local government allocation and will give them the small thing it wants to give them. And even that one, they still must account to the party chairman at every level. So you now find a situation where local government boss knows that it's on a mission, amass as much money as possible, and then go away. Most local government chairmen do not work. The funds maybe are not there, but they also have enough internally generated revenue to do what they want to do. But they're not even cleaning of gutters. They don't do that. So if you want to change things,
and that's the
amend the Constitution.
You have a local government chairman who doesn't work, who has not done anything, and you are the local, a resident at that local government, you want to change things. Unfortunately, the election now, the means by which you could change or remove that chairman, you have no faith in that election because the process...
Because the opposition gave in early enough. Gave in quite early. I know that PDP, if PDP is organized enough, if PDP is united, PDP can win one or two.
Well, we're not just talking about PDP here because let us look at it holistically now. You go to other states, in a couple of weeks or months ahead, local government elections will be held in Ondo State, for instance, where the Labour Party is in control. It wouldn't be surprising if the Labour Party, makes a clean sweep of the local government elections there. And then, because the ACN is in the opposition in that state, of course, it wouldn't be surprising, too, to hear the ACN at that time, come out to complain. So it means there's something fundamentally wrong, that elections do not take place in local,
No, elections actually take place.
Yeah, maybe elections, but on the face of it. I know that
all the parties, somehow, by fair or foul means, manage to control local governments. Where they are not sure, they appoint transition chairmen. In Anambra, in Imo, they have that problem. In many parts of the north, where they are not sure, they have the same problem. And where they doubt their loyalty, they sack you. But then, if you are talking of truly reforming the local government system, first thing is to amend the Constitution. create a third tier in a proper way. A third tier government.
For instance, I get your point, but how, for instance, would you reform the State Independent Electoral Commission?
Well, I think it will be reformed if you still amend and somehow make them truly independent.
Could we borrow the example recommended by the Always panel now for INEC? To say, okay, maybe the state governor should not have the power to appoint the chairman of the State Independent Electoral.
2, statutory funds should be taken from up and direct to the electoral board. Is there a case of the governor needing, okay, this man is a good boy, the chairman is maybe 70 years, somebody's fault is calling me a good boy, he says, release some money. That will not work. But the problem of amending the constitution today is that you need the very states that are busy emasculating the local governments to give their approval to TED. And I do not think that any governor or a state assembly will be happy to let go that cash cow that brings in money nobody accounts for.
Of course, I mean that's only natural. But let me ask you this finally: in the final analysis, now, would you say, would I be right, for instance, if I said, you know, as far as local government election goes, there's just no difference between the ACN and the PDP. There's just no difference at all among these political parties because they do the same thing anyway.
I think it's a winner takes all. It's a game where you are in charge. You don't want any opposition in your backyard. And for one reason or the other, the opposition parties do not really bother contesting much. And you can see some things coming up from this very election held yesterday. But before then, where were they? I can say this without any fear of contradiction. The man Israel was able to hold 1 or 2 rallies, but he also went round. If he's not there, his posters are there. At yesterday's election...
Is it a question of going round or what you've actually done?
No, you make effort to convince those you're going to rule. At least try. But others didn't bother. I know that some parties
they just went
are just there
hoping that, you know...
Nothing.
Maybe the disapproval of the people could...
But they forgot one thing. Make enough noise before the election and people will remember you. They can vote against you, they can vote in your favor. But if you go to sleep, they will just think you put your name there.
But something still needs to be done about...
Oh no, something definitely.
State Independent Electoral Commission.
But remember, whoever controls the funds controls the commission. It's either the president or the governor.
State governor.
So that reform must come. Like Justice Wade said, you must start with whoever appoints and whoever controls the funds. Once you do that, they're free. Remember that in Anambra, the Electoral Commission chairman was fired. The governor simply went there, presented some papers to the House of Assembly,
and of course,
listed a few things. Nobody heard from him. All they did was voted, and the man is busy explaining. So it is everywhere. But also remember that in 1999, the then governor of Kaduna, after a few months in office, fired the local government chairman. And many of us said, this is not democracy. That man was elected by the people. So you cannot fire him.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution, Chief Godwin Wazirike. Well, that's it on the program tonight. We're back again next week. I am Deji Badimasi. Good night.